Hi, here we are again.
Hello.
This is the last panel of the Portugal Railway Summit. Welcome back. Now we will proceed for the future of railways, and this panel will be led by our moderator, Mr. François Daven, General Manager of UESI, that will pass the ball immediately. Please, the floor is yours, Mr. François. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Paulo. So I will try to be brief introducing the panel. First of all, I'm quite honored to moderate this panel. I think indeed the question of what will be the future of railways it's absolutely a key one. I think we have a very good panel with Hyperloop with David Pistoni, CEO of Zeleros, something on digitalization by Jean Araujo, President of Thales Portugal, Green Deal with Paulo Marques, Innovation Director at Catenobus, and retrofitting with Petro Moreira from CP. So we will have a quite complete overview of what could be the future of rail. And well, allow me to say a few words from UIC point of view. As you know, UIC is a worldwide association of railways with a tech focus. So innovation is our DNA. We are providing the leaflets that are giving some consistency to the operation feature within worldwide railways. And this year is quite particular for UIC because it will be both the European Year of Rail and our centenary. So the question of future is really very important. In my few introductory words about future for railway, I think what is very important is also to be in the context of what is happening. And I think there is two main driver. One, it's decarbonation. It has been evoked quite a few times before. So I will not be very on it, but I think what we all understand that there is a sense of urgency for decarbonation, and railways are definitely a part of the solution because it has been recalled that we are 9 times less emitting than any other mode. So the question of shift to rail is definitely a key question. But it's also a key question in the light of the COVID-19 crisis that we have experienced this year. It has changed really the expectations of people regarding transport, regarding the way they are living. They are wanting, in particular in city, less congestion, less noise, less pollution. And that again is something that rail is able to bring forward. So I think for us, as I said, there is a sense of urgency because we want to cope with decarbonation to reach zero net emission economy by 2050, sorry, we need to accelerate strongly. So we need to invest more, we need to innovate. That's what have been said through all the presentation, but more than that, we need to integrate. It will only be a systemic change, a systemic, in a way, a change of paradigm for transport that would allow indeed to have this massive modal shift to rail and to public transport. And what I want to highlight here is that mainly the complementarity that are now possible for technology. For UIC, we are very keen to promote digitalization and in particular the development of 5G. As you know, UIC is doing the specification for FRMCS, which basically will be 5G for railways. And the conjunction of digitalization and high throughput networks that 5G will bring to railways will enable to use automation, to use artificial intelligence, and to overcome cyber risk. So it will definitely accelerate the cycle of innovation. And what we have before us, and I think we will see that in the very interesting presentation we will see today, is how to integrate all those different bricks to be sure that railway becomes a backbone of overland mobility. I will not insist too much on the technical solution. You will do it, I'm sure, in your presentation. I will just say that tomorrow we have an event at UIC, which is about a new brochure that you see on the top of this slide, which is technical solution for the operational railway, which basically make a resume of all the technical solutions that we are providing for the present railway and for the future railway. So it's tomorrow at noon, so if you are interested in. And I will finish my presentation presentation about something that for us at UIC is very important because we have a very strong role in terms of advocacy, is that all those technical evolution will be able to make modelship desirable. So we have to shift the expectations of our fellow citizens and of our customers. Well, and there is two components here very rapidly, is that rail is a frugal mode of transport. And this concept of frugality will be very important in the coming years, because indeed zero carbon emission will be only possible if we have a frugal use of all our assets. And that's very important that today, for example, we have something about retrofitting, because that's also one of the components that makes railways very efficient in terms of frugality, of low emissions, because we have very long life cycle and we have scalable assets. And we need also to develop new capabilities. I think with Thales we will heard of that, and also with Hyperloop. And that's something we are saying repeatedly at UIC. I think we have to associate new words to rail. We have to show that indeed we are the future, not only in terms of innovation, but also in terms of contact with customer and citizen. We have to associate to rail flexibility, simplicity, and liberty. So that's words that are more or less more associated to individual vehicle, but I think it could be possible in the mind of our customer and citizen to associate rail more to those very beautiful words. So I think I did that no more than 5 minutes. So let's try to keep the timing. And without further ado, I will give the floor to David Pistoni. So David, please.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Luis Navarro. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at Hyperloop. It is my pleasure to be here with such a distinguished roundtable. Operator, of course. Thank you very much, Plataforma Ferroviaria Portuguesa, invitation. And well, today I'm here just to speak a snapshot about the Hyperloop ecosystem, how it is evolving, and then for a while, just bring you some highlights about how we can say we can work together with the ecosystem of railway here in Europe and worldwide. But first, as you know, every time that Hyperloop calls the door, you know, there's some information missing. Let me just wrap up with the main concepts. So Hyperloop calls for the fifth mode of transport and basically consists on a train or a vehicle that levitates and travels through a low pressure tube. Therefore, we can reproduce the conditions, the low pressure conditions that aircrafts they have up in the sky, and we can minimize the friction between the vehicle and the air. Therefore, we can reach up to 1,000 kilometers per hour with a very low energy consumption. Also, the fact that we are comprised within a tube gives us weatherproof capabilities. The fact that we are electric gives us also the feature that we are zero direct emissions. And also, because the vehicle is confined, that we can control, we can say, the interaction with the environment, the Hyperloop is envisaged to become a city center to city center being of transport. About the history and origins of Hyperloop, well, even if it sounds quite futuristic, the reality it was firstly described more than 200 years ago, actually in line with the first description of the railway. However, instead of being developed, that was firstly, we can say, proposed to connect the UK and India in order to trade with the species. The reality is that non-commercial, we can say, pilot or prototype really succeed and reach the market. Some years later, in 2013, Elon Musk rebranded the concept, launched, we can say, a startup and the university competition worldwide. And from that moment, now there's an international race to develop Hyperloop worldwide. There are 6 companies, among them, of course, Celeros from Spain, that we are developing this innovative system. And the good news is that now we can say during the last 2 years, we can say the path has been quite accelerated thanks to the support from the institutions such as the European Commission and also in the US. But is just a technology race, or are we solving real problems? Well, of course, second. I mean, as Francois mentioned, this is fully aligned with the challenges that we need to overcome in terms of decarbonization of the transport segment. Also, if we see to one of the main transport technologies, which is aviation, we can definitely become a lever to stop one of the main pains, which is the air traffic saturation. No, of course, not now with the COVID, but once we recover from that, pretty soon for sure, that will be a problem again. And we need levers and technology to overcome this. And of course, according to the UN, in 1950, more than 90% of the population will live in cities in the developed countries. And this is something that we need to cope right now. And existing technologies will struggle to find solutions, user-friendly solutions for that. So we need more things to bring into the table. So to give perspective about in which range we are moving when we talk about Hyperloop, the proposal, we can say, or the concept that we envisage from Celerus is that we will probably promote, we can say, a model shift from the short-haul aviation, and also will compete directly against the bullet train or even the maglev. However, we believe that there's a natural, we can say, complementarity between the high-speed rail and the long-haul aviation. So they will be, each means of transport will be placed in the ranges where they are really effective and efficient in terms of energy consumption, in terms of emissions, and so on. In order to for this technology to become a reality, there are challenges as well. Just to think about the initial challenges that the rail faced 200 years ago, aircraft as well. What is necessary for this technology to succeed? Well, mainly three things. The first one is the technology readiness. So the Hyperloop developers will need to move really fast to develop our technologies and to bring a real and safe technology into the market. Also, the certification journey. This last year, 2020, has been a massive advance in this sense, because the first joint technical committee for Hyperloop specifically was founded in Europe under the umbrella of Sensenelec, and also in the States, there's we can say a mirror initiative getting strong in that market. And of course, the market readiness, the go-to-market, the market acceptance. Whoever, I mean, if people needs to be transported at 1,000 kilometers per hour within a vehicle, embedded into a tube, there's a lot of information and dissemination that we need to achieve. And also the markets, also the clients, the governments needs to see the real benefits that Hyperloop can bring into the regions. So those are the three pillars that we are moving towards the consecution and the commercial deployment of Hyperloop. And why, where's the carrot? So the carrot is basically a trial and error opportunity. There's a chance to really bring a new technology, a new infrastructure that facilitates and facilitates citizens' lives and complements existing technologies. In Europe, for instance, we have envisaged more than 1,500 kilometers of potential Hyperloop network to be, of course, deployed in the next 50, 60 years. That means 550 million passengers move per year. And that's a massive amount of CO2 emissions avoided. And of course, a really interesting business opportunity for all of us. Now, let me just brief you about what we are doing at Celerus. As I mentioned before, we are one of the main developers here based in Spain with a really specific and singular proposal in terms of technology. Our technology consists on a vehicle that is, we can say, inspired in an electric aircraft. This is why we incorporated a compressor. And the compressor is, we can say, is propelled by electric powertrain and batteries. That's very good because we can avoid, basically, the use of a linear motor that propels the system during the entire track. Therefore, we can reduce the cost per kilometer of infrastructure, and we are closer to the high-speed railway, being much more competitive to be in that place, in that natural place that we want to be placed. Also, we can operate at higher pressure levels, and we can simplify maintenance because we can say that most part of the technology is at the vehicle. So the infrastructure is really, we can say, light. We are based in Valencia. 35 engineers, mavericks, I would say, are working day and night to develop this system. And we are really proud because it's not just that we founded this company and then now in a really good position in terms of technology development, but we have also received support from different corporates and venture capital by means of closing an investment round in 2020 within the middle of the storm, COVID storm, which was quite massive achievement really to us. And then 150 people are involved in our project, collaborating with top tier companies worldwide. What is our master plan? We aim to be market ready in 2030. That means we will have the capacity to sell and deliver vehicles for that time. Of course, there are external conditions related to when the construction of the infrastructure will start, but this is our internal plan and this is what we are pursuing. To achieve that, later this year, we will start the construction of a test track here in Spain that will allow us to test and validate the technologies integrated in a 1/3 scale vehicle. After that, we will start in 2025 the construction of our first commercial vehicle, the first prototype and pre-series, and that will help us to, we can say, carry with the certification period, which is one of the big things to be achieved. And just to recall why we do believe that that's possible, 2030, it seems like it's next door. Yeah, because the technology choice that we made allow us to really take a lot of inputs and a lot of standards and procedures and technology and know-how from the rail and also the aviation, because we are operating at similar pressures than aviation. Therefore, for the certification, that's a massive achievement in terms of shortening the cost and time to be market ready, because certification and safety is a must, as you, of course, will agree. And now let me just brief about some ideas that we believe that we can contribute from a very humble position to the railway family. Okay, because even the transformative power of railway, of course, is vast, and this family, this segment, this industry has demonstrated, has been a backbone, to the really linked to the growth of Europe, of course, and also the States in terms of wellness and so on. It is also true that there are some limitations, such as, for instance, the lack of, we can say, passenger traffic capacity in Europe, only capturing 6% of those, and most part transferred to the aviation. Also, from the technology perspective and the speed is important. Of course, when you shorten the distances, the routes, it's not that important. But then when you go further, of course, the comfort of the passenger is critical, is key. So in that sense, even the technology is really mature, and there are some demonstrations. The UIC, François is here as well, has claimed in several reports that 360 kilometers per hour should be, we can say, the sort of limit to become in the balance, in the trade-off between speed and cost effectiveness. Okay, and also, of course, the fact that we are exposed to weather conditions as a natural means of transport. In that sense, we can bring some sneak peeks, we can bring some advantages by means of incorporating Hyperloop to the railway family. And one of the things are basically coping with those limitations. One is to increase the shift, from air to land, in that sense, in terms of passenger traffic in Europe, in mainland Europe. Also to extend, we can say, the typical routes of rail, getting this additional capacity, and of course capturing also part of the cargo that now is, we can say, transferred to the aviation with a very nice premiums, because it's less than 5% in terms of volume, but more than 30% in terms of value. And that's something that Hyperloop probably will be able to capture, because the value is aligned with what aviation can bring. And in that sense, we position ourselves with a very humble position here, just to contribute and to be part of this family, aiming to learn and to bring value as a technologist and as a person that people that we are looking forward to contribute to the transport worldwide, and especially here in Europe. And of course, similar, connecting, for instance, Lisbon and Madrid, that's a dream come true. High speed, of course, can bring a lot of value here, but 50 minutes, quite decent capacity. That's something that we can explore. Thank you very much. It is my pleasure.
Okay, so thank you very much for this inspiring presentation. I hope that you can see me anyway. We will continue with digitalization, and well, I think that as you perhaps know, UIC has a MOU with IATA. Perhaps one day we will have a MOU with you for the ticketing. Actually, we'll see. You don't know. And without further ado, Jean Salguero will speak about digitalization. So please.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. I hope you have my screen now on your screens.
Yes.
Okay, is it correct?
Yep.
Okay. Good morning to all. Good morning, organization, members of this panel, and the audience in general. I would like to start thanking Paulo Duarte and the Plataforma Ferroviária Portuguesa for inviting me to share Thales' vision on digitalization in the railways. That is definitely a hot topic today. And when speaking about digitalization, I always tend to remember that in the foundations of digitalization, we have the binary states, the logic states, 0 and 1, false and truth. And when I connect this with the railways, there is always an image that comes to my mind, and the image is this one. And for those who know this, a relay and a relay interlocking, this means that in the railways, we are being digital for quite a long time. And so using relays, we are being digital quite a long time. But in fact, digitalization in the Portuguese railway started also the real digitalization of the rail network started a few years ago in the end of the 80s, beginning of the 90s, with a critical and a strategic decision to jump from relay and electromechanic interlockings into the solid state interlockings. And from that time, and we have here an image of some realizations from that time, a long travel has been done in terms of train signaling, as well in terms of the associated disciplines and technologies that goes along, namely the telecommunications and the train and the train control. And in fact, when we look back to the beginning of the 90s and we see where we are today, it is clear that there was an evolution on the demands, an evolution on the needs of the railway. And I used to play a little and to have a joke on that, comparing the evolution that we found in the railways with the evolution of the man and these basic needs. And so I used to make a comparison between the pyramid of the basic needs of Maslow with what happened in the rail, because we assisted to the progression in the last years, in the progression along this pyramid. And so in the beginning, we were on the basic needs, and we were in the field of the basic infrastructure. And what did we do? We changed, as I mentioned, relay and electromechanic interlockings for solid state interlockings. We jumped from paper insulated balanced copper cables into optical fiber cables. We jumped from analog carriers to digital transmission systems, later IP MLS. We changed from proprietary voice communications into standard IP-based PABXs, and we moved from proprietary analog radios to digital radios. This was the first step, and we created the basic infrastructure with enhanced requirements. Then it was the time to jump to the next level, the safety needs. And in this moment, we defined it as an opportunity to increase ridership, because it was proven that two important factors to increase ridership in the network. One is security and safety, and the other is information. And then there was a quantum leap in terms of the analog video systems in a station that moved into digital systems in a line, and passenger information jumped from audio announcements in the station to visual and audio announcements in a complete line. but we had more to progress. And then we jumped into the increased control domain, and video analytics entered in the video with capability to automatic detect abandoned objects, motion detection, face recognition, fraud recognition, occupancy measurement, and also the dispatch centers gain in perimeter, in scope, in accountability. And from the local control centers, we jump to line or region-wide control centers. All these from analog systems into digital systems. And one, not final, but one more recent area is the enlarged services, where we find line passenger information jumped, included not only the information, but also the entertainment. The line coverage jumped into region coverage and multimodal approach. The wayside information in which we give information to the users jumped on board, and now there is the possibility, and we see in Portugal, information and entertainment on board. The ticketing systems, long time ago, jumped from the ticket and the paper tickets into the contactless, and now the dematerialization of the tickets. Wireless, of course, became ubiquitous. We have wireless everywhere. And then smartphones are providing apps, giving us a lot of information when traveling. And so we are growing on the sense of achieving the full potential of technologies. And that's why we say that today we are living the railways digital transformation. And the railways digital transformation brings us not only these technology evolutions that we saw that are not new, but also in terms of industry. And when we look to this, what are the challenges that we brings, we can see that there are two big challenges, one internal and another external. Internally, we see that also our organizations are impacted, I would not say affected, I would say impacted by this transformation, by the change in the culture and the organization, in the appropriation of what we call the digital culture and the digital organization. And the second point is to look at our products and services and look them to the external, look them as the value they provide. And so digital transformation in the railways, when we look to what we deliver to the railways, has these two main folds that defines designs the way we approach the market. Let's go one by one. In terms of digital culture and organization, clearly, smart working processes are of our concern. We are focused on customer. We are focused on identifying and creating value. We need to enhance common practices, processes, and tools, not because we're not doing before, but now with the pace the digital transformation takes and the cost that we need to put, this is critical. As well, the cross collaboration. Along with cross collaboration, we have knowledge sharing. More and more digital transformation pushes us to share knowledge internally, share with partners, share with competitors even, create internally transversal communities and share best practices. On the other hand, more technologically, we see great advantage on the creation of competence centers, of agile workplaces with knowledge incubators, where we can capitalize not only our internal knowledge, but share with the community, with academia, with the SMEs, share knowledge to boost and to bring breakthroughs in innovation and technologies, where the mindset is now data-driven, use artificial intelligence, focus on user experience and not what we as technological entity would like to, or what the operator as an entity would like to have. No, focus on user experience, because at the end is the user that will benefit and use or not what we provide. Cyber and safety awareness embedded. We can no longer deliver solutions, products, services without concerns on cyber and safety, and using the distributed capability instead of monolithic capacity. And this is in terms of the impact on the organization culture and mindset. If we look to the market, and if we listen to our customers, and if we listen, for instance, ADIF, user experience, intelligent platforms, intelligent routes as point of concerns in the digital transformation. When we see LTA, tomorrow is driven by technology, seamless connections. When we see RATP with passenger information and comfort, we see where are the focus points, the main concerns of our customers. When we mix this with our vision of the market and the way we think to shape the market, we clearly identify a set of areas and technological areas and domains. Most of them we have internally and we are willing to develop. Others we partner to integrate in our solutions and to together create additional value. And so I drive you through a set of technologies and solutions that brings value in the scope of the railway's digital transformation. I would start with connectivity and digital deployment. Only a few ideas. IoT connectivity is more and more, and will be more and more, a tool to gather information and to create the information, and from this information generate value. Thales, with the recent acquisition of Gemalto, is now playing a significant role in the IoT world. 5G public-based virtual infrastructures. We don't have 5G, but we work over 5G. We use 5G for IoT and for other applications. Cloud-based services. We are migrating services and solutions on base and as a service models. And here I make a special reference because this is for industry like ours. It is really out of our initial DNA. But small by small, our chromosomes are changing into this new ADN configuration and to dive into as a service models. A second point of a second set of disciplines where the digital value is important is the passenger mobility, security, and video analytics. We are for a long time in the domain, and we are market leaders in the passenger information. And clearly that today the trend is real-time passenger information, including planning and including integration with the ticket handling. The transport titles handling, not only the definition, the proposal, the issuance, and the payment. And then it comes the mobility platform to provide seamless journey experience to the users, in which there is not only one single mode of transport, that there are several modes of transport, including the soft modes. At the passenger mobility, we have to be capable to anticipate and to react to incidents and propose to the users alternative routes and reshape his ticketing and his transport title allocation throughout his journey. With the mobile applications, we can say that we have the network in the palm of your hand. That's what we feel. And today, this is the trend in terms of passenger mobility in the transportation. Augmented reality for better travel experience. It is clearly one technology that brings added value, the augmented reality, not only in the passenger information, but we'll see later on in other activities. And the data integration between video collected in the network, fare collection informations, and other public sources allow us to have a good grip on how travelers behave, how travelers travel, where they go, from, how long, which modes, and all this huge amount of small signals, because each one of these information is a small signals, but all the set of small signals using data analytics, artificial intelligence allow us to have a good understanding and give us all the informations to be sure that in real time we can permanently reshape and optimize our network. And finally, I conclude this area by an important point, that is data protection and anonymization of data. All this is possible, especially when users can rely that they can provide and open their information to the use and for the benefit without being subject to other uses. And data anonymization is vital to be sure to pass the right message and to show the right mechanisms to protect data for entities and users and travelers to be willing to open their travel information for being processed and to feedback over the network. Another topic in which we see digital value appearing for the future in the railway digital transformation is the data-driven based automation in the OCCs and multimodal environment. Integrated OCCs, this is not new, but there is also still a long way to run. The automation of train regulation, the optimization of supervision, again, the augmented reality and virtual learning for training operators, and also for the simulation and the training of scenarios of disruption, catastrophe, and so on. And this alongs with the real-time incident and event management and decision support tools and simulation tools. And I mentioned augmented reality and virtual learning gives us all the tools to manage, to have the tools to anticipate, to react, but react upon previous exercises and previous simulations. Automation operation is already something that exists and is a reality, but still continues to enlarge. We see train automation mostly in metros. It will come for the rail. We see it also in heavy haul rail in some mining activities. It is a must. Autonomous train with more intelligence on board trains. And also another point important, that is that concerning the Green Deal, the driver assist for energy saving purposes and material wearing optimization, in which we have tools to assist drivers on a perfect driving, to reduce consumption and to reduce the wearing of the material. And again, in all these activities, the cloud-based functions will gradually take place. It is not easy. It is not from one moment to the other, but will take place. And again, some of these services, or most of these services, can be in the future as a service model for these functions and these services. In line with the operation, there is the rail maintenance and all the activities around, in which again the IoT and sensoring, the deployment and the large deployment of sensoring using IoT will allow us to have a permanent view of each point of the network, from the smallest element to the largest element. We can have this information, but we are speaking about such amount of information. Data analytics and artificial intelligence will play a prevalent role to filter from all this and to synthesize all this into a small set of critical decisions. All this will allow us to perform performance and satisfaction monitoring as the base of continuous change, with all this IoT and sensoring, with the, and I forgot to mention it, with the travelers being used as a sensors, in the sense that we can get information from them, and we can also get feedback from the travelers on the way and the conditions that traveling is used. We have physical sensors and human sensors providing us a lot of information that needs to be compiled and manipulated. We have a good view of the behavior, and we have all the tools that I mentioned to permanently reshape and permanently define strategies of improvement the network performance. The use of drones and automatic video analytics for infrastructure inspection, cybersecurity, user experience and user interfaces in order to make all this practical to use and not very bulky and difficult to use applications. And again, on the maintenance, augmented reality and virtual learning, it is a technology to be deployed and to be more promoted in the future. And so I gave you a set of technologies in which we see the future will rely to make the continuation of the railway digital transformation. And with this, railways will be in a position to play its role in the full set of the mobility, in which rail, ferries, trams, metros, buses, all, and also the soft nodes, all this plays the game of the mobility. And here comes another layer of identification and another layer of intelligence that is part of what I've mentioned is the mobilities platforms. And through mobility platforms, we use digital information provided by all these different transportation modes, all these transports, the users providing informations to get a grip on the way a city or a metropolitan area pulses. And we use these pulses because it is vibrant, it is changing, and it is giving us signals. And so by intelligent processing of mobility information from all these players, as I mentioned, we can continuously improve the network, improve traveling experience. We are able to share transparent KPIs for each one of these entities to better perform, to better articulate modes, including the soft modes, and very important, to reduce waste of energy by the optimization of the offering of the different transportation modes, and very importantly, to intelligently predict and react to congestions, disruptions, and to readapt the network and to have agility. But all this is possible, and this is my last message, by the sharing of data. We all need to be sure that we share data. This data is anonymized, especially on what concerns the end users, the travel, and only with this sharing of data, and only with a layer of intelligence, we can deliver value to the network and generate revenues to all the players that provide data. Gentlemen, thank you. And this is the way we see the future in the railways and in the transportation and in the mobility in general. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Jean, for this very complete presentation where you presented all the technologies that could make a smart network out of our different networks. And I think that's really the key message. We can have an integrated network with digitalization. So as we are a little bit short of time, I will give the floor to Paulo Marques for speaking about Green Deal. So Paulo, the floor is yours.
Okay. Firstly, let me say thanks to Paulo and the Plataforma Ferrovia Portuguesa for these invitations. I'm representing Caetano Bus, bus manufacturer, nothing to do with trains, but let's see through these presentations what we have in common, what were what was made in the past, and what could be done in the future. So a little bit of history of Caetano Bus. Caetano Bus is a bus and coach manufacturer in Portugal, based in Portugal, as the biggest one. We export 80% of our production. We have a worldwide presence, and we are located in the north of the country. We have two companies that are based on UK for UK market, and in Germany the Cobus that is have the presence of the vehicles for airports with a worldwide presence. So the Caetano Bus company is have this structure from the shareholders' point of view. So we have Toyota Motor Europe through Toyota Caetano Portugal with us, sharing the 62% of the shares, and then we have Mitsui Corporation, that is a Japanese company with a huge presence on rail activities too. And then after, we are based in Vila Nova de Gaia, where is the head office plant, where we build the vehicles in Portugal, and we are present in the Ovar too, where we have the Toyota Caetano Portugal plant for the light vehicles, LC70 production from Toyota, and the chassis vehicles production. Our products are based since 1946 in the conventional, traditional business, where we have the airport buses, we have the coach buses, city buses from diesel to CNG, and the minibuses. This is our conventional mobility solutions. And then after, we have our e-mobility solutions, where we can find out the H2 City Gold, the e-City Gold, electrical vehicles, our chassis electrical vehicles, and the vehicles for the airports. Our presence is worldwide. So currently we are based in Portugal, UK, and Germany from sales point of view and production, but our vehicles are covering the worldwide presence from Americas, North America, South America, from Asia to Europe, where we have some different partnerships with local entities to deploy our solutions through all the world. Let me speak about a little bit of the last 2 years of launching the platforms, the new platforms that we applied in London, for example. This is a UK-London example, where we meet TfL requirements in the latest designs regarding the bus safety standards. We launched these new platforms in 2 different lengths, with different capacities, with different safety systems, different powertrains even. But the important was to launch a new platforms 2 years ago, where Caetano Bus starts to be present on what we call the e-mobility, the complete e-mobility range. Why this platform? That's why to launch what we call the H2 City Gold. It was a vehicle, an hydrogen vehicle, that used the hydrogen as a gas with a fuel cell stacks. And here we launched in 2019 this platform, where we met even the same characteristics of the previous platform, from the 12 to the 10 meters vehicle, with different safety systems, with LTO batteries. We increased with this the autonomy of our vehicles. We could go up to 400 kilometers with less consumptions, less CO2 emissions, 0 particulates. And here we have our presence right now in the market since 2020, that we are selling these vehicles to Europe and Asia too. And how we did it? We create a different approach regarding the engineering and the company organization. As a startup approach, we developed a procedure, internal procedure, to be fast to the market, to be agile. As we understand, we need to be in a way, we need to be organized in a way to drop barriers and to bring to the customers, the end customers, different solutions regarding not only the transport mobility solutions, but mobility solutions and emissions, zero emission vehicles. Our R&D teams are organized by system areas. So currently we have all of the areas in-house. So we make 100% body development, mechanics, hardware developments, and software developments. We produce everything by our own from the scratch, and in this way we are more fast, more independent, and to at the end get the correct solution for the different proposals. And let me say that we are what we call it a company to make customized vehicles, custom-made solutions. So here a little bit of our areas of development. So from powertrain to hydrogen hardware integration, from simulations to dynamic efficiency simulations. And here an image of our hydrogen vehicle, of course, in in a part of the Toyota fuel cell systems that we are using to bring to the bus market the technology from the passenger car vehicles, and we are being successfully on this approach, and this is our bet to the future. So fuel cell systems, hydrogen, it will be a key mark for energy transition. Just a brief overview of our tests. So from durability, EMC, cold and hot temperatures tests, stability tests. So this is what we can do, and this is our normal activities as a Caetano Bus in the bus business. Regarding sustainability is what we are always discussing. We launched in 2012 a program where we grab from the old vehicles and diesel powertrains and we convert to electrical vehicles. Some of airports worldwide have already these solutions, and this was a program to combine what is a transition, not only from new vehicles but old vehicles, and this is a point where we remove the particles from the airports, the NOx emissions, CO2 emissions, because with electrical powertrains we work to zero emissions, and we increase the lifetime of the product, the complete product that are using high quality materials. We increase the lifetime from 10 to 20 years of operation. What about the bus and train alignments? So if you think about the buses, normally the current business is around transport passengers from one point to another, but since many years that the buses are trying to meet the requirements of high capacity passenger transportation systems that is similar from the trains and railways. So since many years, non-traditional transport models and systems were created, environmentally friendly and attractive solutions were deployed. As an example of this first image, that is a double-end steering vehicle that was made by Caetano Bus some years ago in operation in Mont Saint-Michel. This is a vehicle that drives for both way and the steering in the both ends. So they will not turn around this vehicle. It's a two-way vehicle as a train proposed, let's say, because of the limitations on the roads in France. And this is an example when we can transport up to 90 passengers in a 14-meter vehicles with the proposal of a train. Buses as a tractors too, with carriage as a trailers are option 2 up to 23 meters. This solution could drive up to 180 passengers. This is a solution that we already see in the market from some years ago. Again, the buses trying to transport more and more passengers regarding the mobility demands. These are the kind of example that we are seeing in Europe. And of course, the articulated buses, as we all know, and tram-on trials that are from 18 meters up to 50 meters that could transport up to 500 passengers, and these are more common. Nevertheless, these vehicles could be combined with different powertrains. An example of the 80s where we developed and delivered articulated trolley buses to Portugal, or battery electrical vehicles that are the current, let's say, vehicles in the bus markets, and of course hydrogen powered solutions where we are starting from 2 years ago up to now deploying these solutions to meet the requirements of the zero emission for clean operations. And what about the sustainability in the trains application? This is an idea that was launched with the Comboios Portugal, CP, and we are very happy to belong to this consortium. So the idea behind this is to retrofit old vehicles from the old powertrains, the diesel powertrains, up to new solutions, zero emissions, and again the sustainability on the rail is quite interesting, and we are very happy to belong to this project that we will see how it's going in the next futures, and maybe CP in the next presentation we will talk about it. And then after, of course, that the future opportunities regarding the bus and trains, they will be more aligned in the future. So a new type of vehicles will be with new front-end designs. And let me inform you that the bus market is looking for more trains solutions, even more. So the bus as a train in the front is a way of protect the damage from the safety point of view. And then after, a new tram-on tires or articulated buses are in the top of our priorities, because it's a demand from the market. Even more, the market wants to cover this range of capacity that the 12-meter buses don't meet, and the train is too big or too expensive. Another opportunity will be to use the current metro rails that are using 750 DC volts. It's the same range of voltage of the buses, so opportunity charging could be a solution or an idea for the next future developments in the bus applications. And new advanced driver assistance systems, as the ADAS is quite known from a while. It will be in place on the buses, not only in cities, on the coach, and in all vehicles that we need to deploy for passenger transportation. And of course, the last one, the alternatives energy storage systems as an hydrogen. We believe and we are committed that hydrogen, it will be the most important, is it will be in parallel as electrical vehicles. It will be a solution for zero emission reduction and increase the capacity, the range, even with less downtime of operation. It will be a solution for the future mobility from the bus point of view. And this is it. I was a little bit more fast. Thank you all for this invitation.
Okay, so thank you very much for this quite inspiring presentation, where once again we are speaking about zero carbon economy and complementarity between rail and buses, and that's very interesting to see that we are both progressing towards a hydrogen-based model for part of our respective networks. So thank you so much. And then we will have the presentation on retrofitting by Pedro Jean Santos Silva.
Yeah.
Please, well, I think that's perfectly complementary, because we have seen that this retrofitting issue is something that is existing both in railways and in bus industry. And I think that's a very important question if we want to be sustainable in the future, because there is a lot in the Green Deal that is about circular economy. And circular economy, it also begins with the capacity of retrofitting existing rolling stock. So please, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. I think everyone is getting my screen. We're going to talk a little bit about the retrofitting, also about the overhaul and refurbishment, of the existing fleet for DCP. And as Francois stated, a very important thing is because railway is an asset-intensive business, so we have to be very frugal. So it's very important to retrofit to take advantage of the assets that we already have. So just to give you a brief introduction about the refurbishment and retrofitting, we are right now going on and overhauling also vehicles. We are doing this in basically 4 different locations in CP. 2 of them at north in the facilities of Guifões and Contumil, another one in the center in Entroncamento, and another one in Barreiro. Actually, the rolling stock that will be available through these operations, these retrofitting and refurbishment operations, are essentially allowing CP to reduce the stress of operation, to create redundancy to services, and to reduce or eliminate service cancellations. So as I told you, I'm going to go through the different locations we have and try to highlight the processes that we are currently going on. So starting at the Guifões site, we are at this moment refurbishing and retrofitting Schindler coaches, which are Swiss-made coaches. In this case, we are implementing renewed and comfort improved passenger seats. Also, we are applying an improved wearing resistance flooring. We are also applying a new heating system and also new LED, both interior and exterior signaling lighting. We are also repairing, rebuilding, and reinforcing key structural elements of the structure. And this is also an eco-responsible operation because we are also removing the existing asbestos insulation from the regional Swiss construction. Actually, for this, just to give you a glimpse of the cost benefit of the recovery of this Schindler coaches, we have an average cost per coach of around the 100,000 euros. And actually, the benefits that we are having with them is to comply with the offered timetable for the Douro line and increase demand on this type of line. Also, these coaches are historically they always ran on this Douro line, so they're very typical there. They're very suitable for tourist services, and that is because they have those panoramic windows, which allow you to enjoy the landscape especially. Another advantage that we have is that by having these coaches put to service, we are allowing rolling stock to go to different lines. So we eliminate both service cancellations or problems in the Douro line, but on other lines where other rolling stock are going to be performing service, namely in the Oeste line. So just to give you a glimpse of a little bit of what we're doing, so making all the repairs, the structural repairs, and the new seats, and also the livery according to the original one from when they stopped working. Here in Guifões, we are also refurbishing and retrofitting and making the overhaul for 4 Sorifam coaches. In this case, we have also implemented a new flooring, but also extra comfort passenger seats. We have improved the heating system and made a complete overhaul to the safety systems, and then put this asset back to the operation as well. For these type of coaches, we have an average cost of something like 65,000 euro per coach. And these are very typical coaches and very comfortable. They're very typical from the Portuguese lines. We have increased the comfort, particularly in the first class coaches. And since they are a very reliable and easy to maintain vehicle, they allow an extra availability for these services in the Douro line, also allowing to release rolling stock to other lines, avoiding cancellations, and reducing the pressure on the maintenance depots or first level maintenance depots. Here in Guifões, we are also currently overhauling, refurbishing, and retrofitting a set of 36 Arco coaches. So we are starting right now, and at the moment we have an ongoing of 3 sets of coaches, but we will have a total of 36. Well, for these coaches, we are planned and are implementing to renew the passenger seats. So these coaches were the seats which were purchased by CP recently to Renfe. We are also going to apply a new LED interior and exterior lighting, and we're going to repair and impermeabilize the roofs. We are also going to apply a new painting livery according to the image defined by the company, so by CP. We will have room for bicycles, given the type of services they are intended to have in the Minho line. We are also going to apply an adapted auxiliary power converter for the 1.5 kV which is the auxiliary power that we standardly use here in the traction material in Portugal. And we will also develop, we will fully develop an in-house passenger information system, the most adapted to the needs that we have to provide information to our passengers. In this case of the ARCO coaches, we have an average cost of around the 140,000 euros per coach. And essentially the benefits that we are going to have is that we are going to comply with the offer for the newly electrified Minho line, which was a problem that CP had. It's also a big opportunity to speed up the CP goal to increase the long distance coaches fleet. So originally we were planning to modernize a set of Storifam coaches, which were stopped, but that is a long-lasting process, much long-lasting process than this one with the ARCO coaches. These coaches have an advantage is that they are suitable for regional or mid to long service distances. So they are very, very versatile. And originally they are very comfortable coaches, and we expect to increase a little bit more the comfort of this rolling stock material. And since then, this will allow CP to increase the long distance available fleet in a very short period of time. So the idea is to solve the problem immediately. Just to give you a glimpse of a little bit of the operations that we have currently going on, so that you get an idea of where we are and also where we are supposed to go. Getting to the Contamil site, the Contamil site is playing a different role. It is refurbishing and overhauling and mainly restoring to service electric traction. So we are restoring to service their 7 locomotives with a total verification and overhaul of the locomotive. With the paint job made according to the original CP livery. We have an average cost per unit of around 65,000 euros per unit. And the idea is to provide traction to the refurbished ARCO coaches, a traction that was lacking in the rolling stock of CP. So in order to be, the idea is to correctly offer the timetable for the Minho line with the ARCO coaches. And this will also allow CP to have an increased available electric traction in a short period of time, which will create redundancies and obviously reduce the possibility of any cancellation of service. Just a couple of pictures for you to get an idea of the whole process of this putting back to service of this type of locomotives. Also in Contamil, we are refurbishing and retrofitting 4 Italian-built narrow gauge coaches. Well, in this case, it's more trying to historically preserve the material. The idea is to renew totally the interiors, but accurately equal to the original ones. Preserve the same paint livery as the original one when they were purchased from Naples. And do a complete overhaul from a bogie to vacuum braking equipment. The average cost of this unit is around 50,000 euros per unit. The benefits here is to provide historical service, which proved to be a growing market for the narrow gauge, and also is very good for public relations and image of the company. And it's very good for the enthusiasts of railroading. Just a couple of pictures for you to get a glimpse of what we're doing here with this narrow gauge coaches, doing a total refurbishment from the interior to out. Following then to the entroncamento site, we've been refurbishing and retrofitting and overhauling a set of EMUs, 4 of them from Siemens. We've done a complete overhaul and previously put out to service units, essentially because of obsolescence issues. So for these units, we have an average cost of around 900,000 euros per unit. In case of the traction system of this unit, we've had to totally retrofit it due to these obsolescence problems. And the benefits here are the incorporation of national and in-house developed technology to overcome these issues. And also try to increase the reliability and availability of the units. These units are key to reinforce and assure the offer in one of the busiest lines in Portugal, which is the Central Line. This will allow CP to have an increased available electric traction also in a very short period of time, which proved to be critical. Reducing obviously drastically the service cancellation and also reducing the pressure on the first level maintenance depot because of the redundancies headed. Also, so a little bit, some pictures about the whole process from the overhaul. Also in Introcomento, we are working on a 3500 series Alstom EMU. It was put out of service because of problems of procurement, of parts procurement. We have an average cost of around 500,000 euros per unit. The idea is exactly the same from the other Siemens EMUs from the series 2300, which is to reinforce the offer in the Central Line. In this case, it has been totally retrofitted from the inside, so the point of view of passenger, the unit mainly changed, and also from exterior because we have changed the painting livery to this livery, this red livery that you are seeing there. So just a couple of pictures of the whole process there. Following Barreiro site here at the south, we have refurbished and retrofitted also a set of two diesel electric locomotives with a complete overhaul of the unit with full inspection, obviously from traction to braking equipment and everything. And it has been painted according to the original livery, so which is the blue one. We have an average cost per unit of around 250,000 per unit, and these units are mainly to provide traction to the Schindler coaches. So that's why they are very important to assure the service in the Douro line and allow the increment of tourist services in the Douro line, reducing drastically service cancellations and increasing redundancies for the maintenance depot. Just a couple of pictures of the bits of the work we've been made with these locomotives. Also in Barreiro, we have restored to service one locomotive from the series 1550 from MLW. Here, the basic idea, well, the average cost is roughly the same from the other unit. And the basic benefits here was to provide more powerful traction to the emergency train, but also to provide a diesel training vehicle to graduating drivers, which was lacking in CP. And just a couple of pictures from the recovery of this locomotive. So final remarks and ongoing projects. Here in Guifões and Contumel, well, besides the Schindler and the Sorefam coaches I've described, we are currently ongoing some extra 5 Schindler coaches and 3 Sorefam coaches. Contumel is also recovering 3 more Alstom electric locomotives and 2 narrow gauge coaches. We also have in our hands a modernization of 19 DMUs and the modernization of 7 narrow gauge DMUs, which my previous speaker just gave a hint of what it can be. Entroncamento is right now ongoing for the delivery of 2 Siemens EMUs and 1 Alstom EMU, everything retrofitted and refurbished according to what I have described. Also, Barreiro are currently in the process of delivering 2 extra units to try to assure the demand that increased from passengers, and we hope it is going to increase a lot more after this pandemic situation. So just to leave you with a couple of pictures of the services we are performing in Douro line, and maybe inviting everyone if wants to enjoy the landscape of the Douro line. It's a very typical railroad line and very touristic. And we have a big demand there, as it can be seen by the pictures posted.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
for your
I think
attention.
we have quite a constraint on the agenda. I think
Yes,
we have to
yes.
finish by in 5 minutes. I understand. Yeah.
Yes,
is that correct?
I'm finished.
Okay.
Thank you for your attention.
Okay. Thank you very much.
I hope to be. I hope to have been on time.
Thank you very much to you all. Sorry to interrupt. In fact, we have already the minister on waiting room, so I think we'll be able to have 5 minutes sharp. It needs, in fact, to be 5 minutes, and I ask for your help on this. So, François Daven, perhaps there are some questions from the audience that we'll be glad if you
I think we
can
have
place them.
Quite a few interesting questions. I will start with a question to Mr. To Mr. Luis Navarro about the presentation on the Hyperloop. Does the zeros vehicle could possibly be coupled to make longer vehicle with more capacity? Because the capacity of the vehicles is always a question that we have on with Hyperloop.
Yes, thank you very much. Well, this is one of the, we can say, the options that we are managing. However, it will, we can say that the original concept is not considering this as an initial step in terms of the technology development, because it's not needed for the demands that we have today. We are working instead on reducing the headline between, the safety between train and train, and that will be enough so far. Probably in 50 years, we will need this additional technology.
Okay, and that means that you didn't really address this question, but in terms of throughput of passenger by minutes, for example, is that competitive with, for example, a high-speed line? Or?
Yes, it is, because the headline can be reduced thanks to the different technology, we can say, about 2 minutes from the train to train. And that's something that dramatically increases the capacity. It's just another lever.
Okay. So thank you, because that's underlying under this question about coupling, I imagine. So I have another question for Mr. Jean Salguero, which is about cybersecurity, because indeed sharing data and integrating all mode is really what we want to do. But what is for you the level of cybersecurity that is needed to ensure the digital transformation?
Well, the digital, the cybersecurity level is according to the standards, to assure the full protection and the full blocking of external interference, the capability to audit the manipulation of all the information, and to assure that we have integrity of data and access by those who need to access, and there is no misappropriation of that information. I think these are the two parameters that are of paramount relevance, and mainly, and as I mentioned, the question of the anonymization of data, that is almost a side of that, but it is important. It is vital for people to, together with the cybersecurity tools, to trust on allowing the information to be used for analysis and for evaluation. But as I mentioned, integrity and auditing of who uses and how it uses.
Okay. Thank you very much. I think that's also interesting. And also what I understand is that as the rest, security will be transversal to all the modes, because we will more or less using the same technologies. That's
Yeah, indeed. And in fact, another important topic is that the cybersecurity, as if we, in the first glance, we could think cyber as something that is put on top of what exists. From now on, more and more, cyber comes from the base and comes from design. And so most of these systems, most of the solutions are secured by design. And so when engineers and when the technicians start to think on the topic, it runs immediately from that. But without going in further details on the safety levels and the norms, I think it is not the case to speak about safety level 3 and so on. This is a rough idea of what is the concerns around the cyber.
Okay, thank you very much. And I think I have a last question to Paulo Marques about the Caetano capability of building the mainframe or light-to-rail vehicle like a single car tram, given the experience you have in road vehicles.
So this is really what we are thinking about, and it will be our bet in the future. Thinking cover all the needs from the market, not only small vehicles or airports, but bigger vehicles are in our vision to the future. Yes.
Okay, so thank you very much.